Hey everybody, it's Brooke. Look, I've been finishing things. Here are the last two Flippy Flappy Joey DeFee inspired Christmas journals or December dailies or what have you. And I do have 4 other journals that I'm going to flip through that will all be going into my Etsy shop, and they will be live by the time this video comes up. So I hope that something interests you or looks like it will work for you. So let's start with these two. They're very similar. I did do a series of videos of Christmas in July and August working on these, and it was Joey DeFee's fabulous idea, and then I kind of went further with it. So this one has these adorable little Christmas ornaments pinned on the front, and the paper pad I used is Graphics 45 Joy to the World. So let's see if I can figure out how these work, because they're very flippy flappy. And this is just a piece of silk, seam binding that I have it tied closed with. It's not attached, obviously, because there it is. So this one opens this way, and then we have a 3-tiered pocket in the front with goodies and tags. And what I tried to do was include a lot of things that you could use in the journal while you were using it and journaling. Oh, and it does have little danglies at the bottom. Some digital pages, some vintage catalog pages, coffee dyed. Here's where the little danglies are. So there are blankish journaling spots, and then here is a big bag bound in with a tag in it. And you turn that over, and there is an envelope that's tucked and tipped and attached with some other little goodies in there. This side opens up. Let's see if I can get that back centered a little bit. Here is some vintage Christmas music, still with the notes written in pencil. I love that. And then in this envelope is some Kiki K holiday note paper. And here's another flippy flappy envelope. Some coffee dyed paper in this one. On this side, the flippy flappy envelope. Oh, we already looked at that one. See, they're very complicated. Super fun. This is a floating pocket that comes right out, and that's the back of this side. And the floating pocket is made out of vintage ledger. There's a little cluster, and I just stuck all kinds of little bits and goodies. More Kiki K paper. There's some stickers. If you flip it over, there's another tag. Paint chips, vintage Christmas cards, some Tim Holtz bits. There's a little collage, and this can get clipped in anywhere in the book that you like, or it could go in a different book, whatever you want. I tried to make it very flexible. So that all closes up. Let's see. This guy goes here. These guys go there. Oh. That closes up. This is the back cover. Here's another tag that I made. Let's see if you can see that. Isn't that cute? Just a little round guy, and that's clipped in. And then if you turn the whole thing over, it opens again this direction and folds out there. So here's another journaling booklet, kind of. I thought these would be great for December daily, kind of more compact. Mine tend to get really fluffy, but maybe that's not your style. And so there are lots of places to memory keep and journal and document, and it's all kind of compact and can go with you wherever you like. And I try to include lots of bits for you to use in this journal or a different one. Here's the back cover on this side with a pocket, and there's a tag and a Project Life card. And this is actually a length of vintage jewelry store wrapping paper. Isn't that fun? And it's just beautiful. That's great for collaging and layering. And then on this side, there's a little side pocket, and there is a vintage Western Union telegram, Santagram form, a blank, and some little gift planner list paper. And there's that little tuck right there. So that is this journal. I'm telling you, that was That was quite a challenge to figure out which way the flaps and everybody went. And this is the paper clip. You can see there's lots of yummy goodness sticking out. This is the jumbo paper clip that I used to attach that floating pocket. And I love this big crystal. So that is the first of the 2 December dailies or Christmas journals or whatever you would like to call them. This is the second one that's very similar, just different papers and kind of different colors. The front of this one is more of an olive green kind of seam binding. Wow, I have no words today. With a jingly bell, because it's not Christmas without a jingly bell. And that, again, is not attached, just tying it closed because it's chock-a-block full of yumminess. And when you open this one, there's a little pocket in the front with a tag. There's a little journaling. It's like a journaling booklet, sort of, but it's included in the whole journal, obviously. Coffee dyed notebook paper, and here are the little danglies on this one, which I love. And if these bother you, of course, this is where I bound the journal in. You can just, don't cut the binding thread, but you can cut these beads off and use them somewhere else if you don't like them dangling around on your book, because I know that bugs some people. I love having dangles at the bottom because I like to mess with them. So there are those pages. Lots of washi tape. Just, they're very, very busy. All kinds. I love a busy journal. All kinds of stuff going on. And again, inspired by Joey's flippy flappy envelopes. Then here come the flippy flappies. Here's an envelope that I made from a vintage, I think it was a Leisure Arts Christmas book. And there's some more of that Kiki K notepad in there. And a page from a vintage Christmas. It's kind of like a memories book. Put those back in there because with all the goings on in this book, I'll forget where I had them. Here's another envelope flippy that has more bits inside, including a piece of Christmas napkin, because you can never have enough napkins. Then there's this Project Life card and a decorated paper clip that seems to have popped off, but it lives there. Or wherever you'd like it to. And then here are the other flippy flappies. And this one is a treat bag. It's not cellophane, it's plasticky, but it's got little snowmen on it, and I put some offcuts and tags and stuff in there to play with. And then another little journaling area, a little golden book that was Eloise Wilkin. It's the Christmas Story, I think, but aren't those just beautiful illustrations? Just gorgeous. Another envelope flippy made out of vintage Christmas music paper with some of that gift wrap inside. A bag that's part of the flippy area that has another tag inside of it. And the back of this has a piece of the vintage Christmas book that's Christmas notes. So it's with the year and the weather and the temperature and little notes to make. And if you don't like it, cover it up. Write on it whatever you want to write on it. Put a photo. It's very neutral colored, and that would work. And this little guy goes in here, but he jumped off too. So then you close your flippy flappies. And you close up your journal part. It does lay better if it's closed in a certain way. It'll work anyway, though. Oop, forgot this guy too. My goodness, I'm falling apart. So we'll just flip it over. And then on the back, this is the back cover. And there is a pocket down here. Time for fun, snow time for fun. Snowed in and loving it. And there are a couple little tags and a piece of that gift wrap again tucked in there. Then if you open it up this way, you have more flippy flappies. This is a vintage greeting, or a vintage Christmas card rather, that is tipped in, and I made it into a pocket, and there's a tag inside. Some music roll, piano roll paper. More of that beautiful Eloise Wilkin Christmas Story, journal pages, all of that sewn in. There's more of that book. I love that book. The other side of the music paper, the piano paper rather. And then here's that card, the back side of that vintage Christmas card. And there's some little tags stuck in there. And here's the big floating tag for this journal. And again, it's made out of, oh, that's totally out of frame. Sorry, guys. Made out of vintage journal. And then it's got pockets on both sides. And I stuck in various tags and playing cards and paint chips and cut aparts. Up here is the Santagram blank from Western Union, and some more Kiki K stickers, some offcuts. This is some coffee, well, obviously not coffee dyed, but dilution spray dyed paper that I did last year or the year before. It's just an offcut. And another little tag with that adorable napkin on it, and all kinds of goodies to use. And here's the big jumbo paper clip that is holding it all in. And again, you can use that in this book, wherever you'd like it, or you could put it in another book. Because it's your journal, you could do whatever you'd like. And so that is the second one. I did not put this back together right, so I'll go and fix that. I am having my paper creep. Good grief, I'm falling apart here. So those are the 2 December Daily Christmas journals that will be listed in the shop. And then, additionally, I finished 2 more jelly journals. Whoops. I really didn't put that back together right. That was in one of the inside pockets. I'll put that back together right. I won't make you wait, though. So these are the 2 jelly journals that I finished, one of which is very glary, obviously, but I bound it into a composition notebook. And then this one is the first hardcover jelly journal that I've done, and I use a 1927 Funk and Wagnall short story book, and I did expand the spine on this, but saved the spine and reattached it after I expanded the spine. So this guy is little. Let's see. The Christmas ones that I just showed you are approximately 9 by 6 when they're closed up. This one is just short of 4 inches wide and 6 inches high. I did leave the cover blank except for the little bit of jelly print that's showing because I love it. It's a little tiny red book. What is not to love? It's ready for you to collage on it or leave it just the way it is. And this one I packed full. I have to have a sip of water, pardon me. Dry throat. I saved the title page, and I'll probably leave it in there. This is the book that I used, The World's 100 Best Short Stories, and it was published in 1927. This book has 5 signatures of various jelly-plated goodness. I picked out more of my favorites. Some of it's on composition notebook paper, some of it's on regular computer paper. There are some black pages, that beautiful black bond. This is from a 1970s railroad handbook, employee handbook. Just all different kinds of papers. Some of them are a little bit shorter, which I love. And I did line the back of the spine with a jelly print. So in between signatures, you see that one. Again, there are 5 signatures. There are a total of 100 pages front and back. There's a dictionary page with some glitter paint on it. There are pages that have alcohol prints on them. I love how those came out. Alcohol ink on my jelly plate. All different kinds. And then, of course, they're all bound in, and I put, oop, they're stuck together. We had to stick together. I put little clay beads and beaded beads and charms, all kinds of things on the bottom there to dangle and look awesome. Again, if that bothers you, they are very easily cut off and reused for something else, but I love how they look. Some pages have some blank area. Some pages are totally covered. Little bit of everything. Again, some of my very favorite prints ended up in these books. So that is what this one is. Lots of brights and then neutrals, all different kinds. There's some of that black bond paper with glitter paint again. Little bit of everything in here. So I love this guy. And again, I will just tuck that right there so I remember to leave it in there for the new owner of this beautiful little journal. Here is the composition notebook journal, and I'm going to open it quickly because of that glare. I did use just a Staples gridded composition book. Again, I lined the spine with a strip of one of the jelly prints, and it does have all the beads and charms and dangly goodness down at the bottom. And there are different kinds of paper in this one as well, and it's bigger. It's composition notebook size. Imagine it is about 9 3/4. Well, let's measure it from in here. By about 7 3/4, the cover is. And this one is significantly thinner. It is only 2 signatures, and I believe it has 32 pages front and back. But they are bigger pages, as you can see. And all different kinds. Here's some of the original composition notebook paper, some of that railroad employee handbook, some smaller computer paper, and when you get these, they may sound like they're trying to stick together. They're not stuck together. The paint makes a noise when you open the book. I finally figured that out. I thought they were sticking, but it's just a noise the paint makes, and it doesn't remove paint from either side. So, look at that. Oh, I love these. There's some of that black bond paper that has Finnabair paint on it, and that sparks, and just some different color shifts and things. I love it. And there's the center. So lots of room to collage or glue book or journal or use it as a daily creative journal, whatever strikes your fancy, or tear the pages out and use them for collage. Use them in something else, whatever works. So that is this. Here's the second signature. And again, the pages are different sizes, different colors. I just pulled some of my very favorite prints and included them in this journal. Okay, here's a grocery bag. I love how those come out. Oh, you can see the grocery store logo there. Lots of different textures and colors. Some of those tiny stamps are tiny gel plates that came with my Faith impressions, and I used those on there. And more composition notebook, more just regular copy paper, black bond, another one of those railroad employee handbooks, and then there's the back of the composition book. So those are the 2 jelly journals I have, and then I also have, finally, the 2 ledger journals that I started. I'm so excited. Oh, look, we have a piece of thread that escaped. So excited that these are finished. And I have a tall one and a short one. I'll go through the tall one first. Get this one out of the way. And it is tall. It's not all going to fit. So you can see. I'll measure this and let's see how we can do this. I'll do it this way, I think. This guy is, well, that's 12. We'll have to roll back. It's so big. So it's about 13 inches tall and closed. Oops, that's upside down. Closed. The ledger itself is about 8 inches wide. And these are covers, original covers from very vintage ledgers. Okay, and so this one you can see has these beautiful ladies, and this is a collage I made with one of those auto gaskets that I had in a sale. I don't think we have any more of these left in the shop, but they're really fun to use. And a little piece of twine that kind of bops around, and a little piece of lace and some cheesecloth lace on the spine. And ta-da! These do have snippet spines, so I'll pick that up. Let's see, maybe if I do it this way. You can see this is one of my snippet roll spines. It's got all different textures, beads and sequins and charms and ribbon roses and some silk ribbon embroidery that I did and vintage price tags and just all kinds of goodness on it. Love those spines. So when you open this up, I left the cover just the way it is. It had, you know, it's got some aging around it. It's old. It's an old ledger, but I just loved how it looked. I didn't want to mess with it. Then it's got a layer of lace and the black where we painted it, where we expanded the spine, and then the spine covering, which is some Tim Holtz fabric. I did put cheesecloth bits top and bottom so they kind of fray and hang out. I love how that looks. I love that tattery, thready look, like it's been around forever. And then the pages themselves are Tim Holtz paper. I left the inside fairly plain. These are created, they have 2 signatures each. The signatures have a good gap in between them. They are created to be used and stuffed full with all of your things that you love. Photos and mementos and whatever you want. I left a big generous gap in there to accommodate for putting your own things in there without giving it a giant alligator mouth. This is an old painting book that I coffee dyed and left the place where I tore it out of the book. I love that. Here's one of the, oops, see, that's a Tim Holtz clip with a little dangle on it. And this is an envelope, faux envelope, I guess, that unfolds and it's a journaling spot. Love that. And so that just goes right on top there. I did include lots of actual antique and vintage ephemera in this book. Oh, look, I got my clip all in an uproar. So there's lots of stuff for you to use. Do your own thing with it. This is the other side, obviously, of the envelope and some ledger page that opens up. This is some of the original ledger page out of this book. As you can see, it was dated 1895. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love it. Love it. And it's in such good shape. Such good shape. Here's a flip of some tracing paper. It's not tracing paper. It's calligraphy paper. And a tag that I made, an index card that I covered with a vintage linen, sewed it on with some antique blue lace. There's that. Edith Holden pocket. This is a Western Union Telegraph Company cable, a blank cable. And these are really old, and I don't remember. Oh, well, I didn't pay $10 for this, but that's what it was priced. Wow, look at that. Maybe it was $10 to send. I don't know. But that's in there, and I thought that was really neat. I was looking for a year. I didn't see one. Old. Let's go with old. And then this is the back side of that page. I had to expand some of the pages to make them wide enough for this book or tall enough. And so this is where I attached some vintage scrapbook paper to that calligraphy paper, lined it with washi tape. Here's a very old photo that's adorable. A gal kissing his girl. Some washi tape and this beautiful applique. And I really tried to keep this neutrals and whites and browns, and I love how, and there's a lot of blue actually too, but I love all the browns and whites and neutrals. This is a page from a 1943 ladies' home journal, and here is a coffee-stained doily tuck spot with a calendar page from a pocket calendar 1881 to 1882. Someone made their penciled notes on it. Looks like a recipe maybe, but parts are faded. Here's another tag that I made with some of the Tim Holtz fabric, advertising fabric, and a little collage on a coffee-stained index card. It just clips there. This is some old ledger paper that's dyed, coffee dyed. This is a vintage greeting card that says "For your recovery," which is kind of unfortunate, but I figured it could be covered. I didn't want to mess with it because look how beautiful it is. And it opens up and it's signed, and that could be made into a pocket, a tuck, go over a page, put your own thing. There's so many things that you could do with that. So I just left it alone and clipped it right there. Coffee dyed paper with some eyelet on there. This is the center of the signature. I did put some washi tape down the center. I often do in the center of the signature just to reinforce it a little bit. And then this is the other half of the first signature, another doily tuck. some little bits in there. These are these wonderful cards I got from our Michelle at one of her sales. Love it. 1955. And that can just go in there. And this is a vintage looking postcard. It's not vintage, but I thought it was pretty nifty. I don't even know where that came from. And then there's the back of that ladies' home journaling page. A fabric flip with this beautiful rose fabric. And let me scoot that down again. It's got two different trims up at the top. And that is covering, this is that antique scrapbook page paper that is blank, and it's really heavy. It's beautiful paper. It's got a little bit of a text, not really a texture. It's like it's a pulp paper, like a construction paper or something, but it's this beautiful creamy color. It takes pen beautifully. I got a whole book full of it, and I don't even think I used the covers, but I bought it for the paper. There's the other side of it. More of that beautiful ledger paper from this ledger. Very clearly marked 1895. More recent ledger paper, columnar paper. Little Rita flip down there. And there's a tiny little vintage memoranda page in there. And a New York Central System ticket. I think it's a bus ticket. Let's see. Back of that page. Other side of that beautiful painting book that's nice and giant. I did dye this with doilies, so you get some of that pattern, which I love. And the back page is this vintage looking general store kind of bag. And inside the bag, there's something hiding. Oh, I love these. I found these at a flea market, and it's some kind of accounts payable ledger, but it's not that heavyweight. It's heavy enough, and I love the size and the lines and the shape. I just love everything about it. So that's tucked right in there. An old check blank, 1950 something. The stub is still attached. And that's tucked right down into this little tuck spot down here. Little collage. And then you can see this good, generous width in the spine that I included. And this is the second signature. More Tim Holtz paper. More Tim Holtz. Well, same Tim Holtz, other side. More of the ledger paper. And I did reinforce with washi tape where I sewed the ledger paper in. It's in great shape, but I wanted to make sure it had that washi tape reinforcement. Here's a little envelope tuck that slides over the page. Put a little decorated paper clip on to hold it in place. And then this is an embossed coffee dye folder. Not folder, envelope. And on the inside, it's got this beautiful card. Not really a card, it's sort of a journaling spot that I made from an old book. And I think I made it. Did I buy it? No, I think I made it. And on this side, the flap of the envelope provides a tuck spot. I put in this old receipt. 41, 7/14, 41. Look at that sound. And the aging on it. Oh, it's so pretty. And then this is a glassine bag. It's funny when I make my little pieces so complicated, I don't know how to work them. This is a glassine bag. And inside the glassine bag is this beautiful journaling card. So that goes there. And then the whole kit and caboodle get clipped on the edge of this page, or whatever page you want to clip them on. It just seemed to me that this would be a great way to include lots of ephemera, but you're not committed to having it on the page I decide it should be on. So I put in as much good stuff as I would in a regular journal. I just didn't affix it to the pages, so I like that a lot. A very old typing book. You can see it was repaired with cellophane tape, and I left all of that. I love how that looks. Reinforced the edge with a little bit of washi tape. There's the back of it. Isn't that great? And then some coffee dyed dictionary page. Another craft glassine bag. Oh, did you even see that? This book is so big. You could see it. Good. Another glassine bag. Let's scoot down again. And I put a big old journaling card in there. Just beautiful. I don't own that stamp, but I own that fabric. I'm pretty sure I made this. Isn't that funny? Wow. You know you craft a lot if you can't even remember. This is some vintage music paper. This is actually antique sheet music. Flaps out. Some Tim Holtz vellum, which I love and I hoard. Here's more of that scrapbook paper with a little bit of a Tim Holtz piece down there. And then this is an Edith Holden page. I attached a coffee-dyed envelope at the bottom. Here's this little vellum piece. It's a little collage. And inside, I tucked this 1898 receipt for wholesale druggists. And it's just got really interesting things on it. And look at that handwriting. Isn't that beautiful? And again, this is an original. This is not a digital. And I just tucked that right in there. And on this side, there's a belly band. And I included a very faded but adorable old picture of two little boys on the beach looking like they're having a good old time. A travel postcard from way back in the day. And this is one of those books that came with the tissue leaves in between them. And I included the tissue leaf because it's kind of cool paper. And this is a page from a very, very old 1947 seed catalog. Aren't those images great? So that is also included under that belly band. And that just goes right there. And then the other side of the vellum. The other side of the music paper, which I glued over to make a little side tuck. And this is from the International Oddfellows, 1922. June 1922. And it looks like... oh, it's the officers elected, appointed, and installed for the current year. Isn't that neat? So again, this is an original. This is not a digital. And then the next page, I did include a page from a photo album. I bound that in. I left the white paper in, and it looks a little bit jarring, but it does come out, and unless I sewed it in which case you're going to have to give it a little tug. But I left it in case you wanted to have a backing for whatever you put in, if you wanted to use it as a cutting template for whatever you're putting in, just in case it would come in handy. Very easily taken out, though, because it is really white and glary. Then the other side of the dictionary page also dyed with some lace. And that's the other side again of, this is just some coffee dyed plain paper. The lace is more apparent here. I used a vinyl tablecloth, and didn't it come out cool? Another page of the ledger, 1896. Some beautiful white eyelet on the edge. There's the back of that with another Rita flip. That opens up. I lined those with sewing pattern tissue. And then in the pocket is, may life's fair flowers surround you, around you fall. And it's a happy Valentine's Day card. And this is a reproduction. This is not actually vintage, but I thought it was beautiful. This, however, is actually vintage, and it is a receipt for Read and Preserve. August 13th, but it has no year. Oh, 1898. Isn't that cool? So that's in there as well. And then the back page is the other side of that Tim Holtz. And this is a receipt, or not a receipt, a folded... What am I trying to say? My gosh, my words are gone. This video is way too long, obviously. This is a ledger strip that I folded and sewed more paper on top of to make a ruffle for the edge. And I did leave the back of the cover as is, because I just thought with the aging and everything, I just thought it was beautiful. I did sign it, so there's a little piece with my signature. And so that is our big, tall ledger And I'm going to go through this one way faster because I think you got the idea. Another collage on the front, including a beautiful antique doily. Another snippet spine, which makes me so very happy. I don't make them terribly often because they are really time-consuming. But I just love how this one came out. Isn't that fun? And it's not picking up as brightly colored as it is, but there's Swarovski crystals, there's all kinds of stuff in there. And this particular ledger is, oops, upside down. My middle name is upside down. 10.5 by 8 when it's closed. So let's see, can I get that in there? I think I can. Got my paper on my desk all askew now. Again, left it blank. This is the fabric, or left it alone rather, just because look at that foxing, and oh, I love it. This is the fabric that I covered the spine with. Fabric ruffle, Tim Holtz paper. There's a little pocket, more of the seed catalog, more recent columnar pad, a little collage with a vintage photo that I love of 3 ladies, craft colored glassine bag bound in with a giant tag inside. Oh, a giant tag inside. I guess I should have zoomed out some. Tricky. I hardly ever do videos for journals, you guys. Thanks for bearing with me. Again, this photo is fairly faded and quite glossy, so it's glary. But it's this adorable lady with a doggy on her lap, and I just love it. It's quite curled because it's old, but I think once it's been in here, it will flatten out. It's already flattened out quite a lot. This is the original ledger from this cover, dated 1929. Coffee dyed dictionary, some of that painting book. Here is the cover to Folk Festival Recipes, which I thought was a really cool book, and I just bound the cover in. Here's another one of those embossed envelope tuck spots. Coffee dyed paper. Again, left it fairly simple because the book itself and the pages are just so beautiful. I included lots. Oh, this is the back cover of that book, and it's got the information about the cookbook. And I love the handwriting, and I love the paper, and it just worked out beautifully. At any rate, yeah, 2 signatures in this one as well, and quite a generous allowance between the 2 signatures to let you do your memory keeping and stuffing in of items without running out of space or having a hard time opening the book. It does lie flat, and the big space between the 2 signatures, well, it's not that big. The big space between the signatures allows for lots of stuffing of the book. Dictionary pages, more of the journal itself, all these beautiful trims on the edge. Here's another photo page. Again, I left the white blanks in. They do come out. And more recent columnar pad. Rita flip down the bottom. Little goodies tucked in. Here's the second signature. So you can see that's probably 3/4 of an inch. Maybe almost an inch in between the signatures. So there's lots of space to put all your goodies in. Another hope you'll be well soon. Very antique greeting card. I just loved it, so I put it in just the way it is so you could use it however you'd like. And some of the trims on the edge are antique, and some of them are more recent. Here's some beautiful coffee dyed paper, a butterfly, a little collage, and a stitched index card with that antique linen on it. Wow, I really have run out of words. A fabric flip, more of that beautiful rose fabric, a little flower and some lace, and a place to put your journaling, or wouldn't it be pretty to have a photo under there, or whatever you'd like. This is my favorite ledger in the whole world. I parted with an actual piece. Love the translucence of it, love the sound, love the color, love it. Some braille paper that has one of those foldy envelopes. And there's the other side of it, and the braille paper folds out. Tim Holtz vellum. Has a pocket on this side with another vintage look. This is not a vintage postcard, just a vintage look postcard. This, however, is a vintage card from 1900. Looks like collections. Please see to it at once. Wow, he sounds serious. Coffee dyed paper reinforced in the center of the signature. Tim Holtz fabric made into a card that is clipped in with a charm. That's a flip. Other side of the vellum, here is an adorable photo of this little girl. Is she the cutest thing? And these are actual, oh, her name's Catherine. These are actual photos, you guys, that are included in here. The other side of that braille paper with another matchbook flip card that is just clipped in. It can go anywhere. Other side of my favorite. It's almost onion skin. This particular ledger was printed on. Another Rita flip right here. Opens up one of the travel postcards. And I did include the tissue backing. That's France. Beautiful. Cardstock. Little pocket here with a small cluster. Some note from, don't know what the date is, 1923, and a bill from 1941. Isn't that great? Letterhead. And those are just both tucked in there. Inventory tag that I did a little collage on. Clipped to more ledger paper. On this page, I did a side tuck with a photo booth strip from Tim Holtz. And I put in another inventory tag that I did a small collage on. And this is a receipt from the Maple Sweethearts. I don't see a date on it. Nope, I don't know. A long time ago, I'm guessing. Beautifully aged. Typewritten, love it. And that is the back of the second signature. And again, I left the cover alone on the back because of the aging and everything. I just think it's gorgeous. And I signed it, and that's it. So those are all 6 of the journals, you guys. Thanks for putting up with me. I haven't recorded a journal in forever, it feels like. So thank you so much for putting up with me. As I said, when this video goes up, the journals will be live in the Etsy shop. If you don't see one, it means it's already gone. But I really hope that you love them and you scamper right over and get started with your own journal. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, please feel free to message me through Etsy. Is usually the best way to get my attention right away. And I hope you guys are all well. You stay safe, and I will see you soon. Bye, everybody.